Hmm. Hello, thank you for joining. So today's video, the sequence is a ventral vagal sequence. I have chosen to sit down on the floor, but if you would wish, you could sit up in a chair, so just even on a sofa, so that the soles of the feet could be flat on the ground, that your sit bones are heavy on the chair, and that you might be able to keep a long spine. So if you need a pillow or something behind you as well. Um, Before you get too comfortable, it might be nice to have a bolster if you have one. I'm going to give you the option to finish class in a heart opener. I also have a eye pillow, a couple of yoga blocks, and a just sort of like a little sandbag. A little bit of weight is really nice when we're working with the feeling of groundedness and relaxation. So it can help with that kind of relaxation response. There is so much on the vagus nerve. So if you want more information, you can certainly Google it. It is one of the longest nerves. It is the longest nerve, named after the word. So it gets its root from VAG, just like vagabond, wanderer, and that is kind of the idea with this nerve. This long nerve is the wandering nerve. And so if you'd like to join me for a moment, you could kind of think about bringing your left hand just to the back of your neck and just beginning to envision where this nerve begins as it makes its way up, of course, into the brain, beginning in the brain stem, and runs its way down the back of the neck and wraps around. So remember, it's this wandering nerve, and it wraps around to the front of your face, where it'll affect your eyes and your jaw and your ears. So taking maybe your right hand just slightly to the side of your face, making contact. So the vagus nerve, this system is also called the social engagement system. So when it is toned, when we are operating from this place, when we're in this state, it's much easier to connect with ourselves, connect with the world, connect with others, and connect with spirit. So it continues to wander down. You might bring your hand now just to the side of your neck. So softness in the neck, it can help us to have more of almost a deeper tone to our voice, or a fuller tone, less tight or strained voice, and runs down into the heart center, helps to regulate our heartbeat. So when we're in this state, our heart rate is much more regular. Moves down into the diaphragm, helps to affect our breath. So when we are operating from this place, the breath is a little bit more easy, a little bit more full. And then placing a hand even down to the belly, it helps when we're here, digestion can happen. And you can think not just digestion of food, but of the world around us, the things that we're going through, the things in our life that need to be metabolized and digested. The hand that's behind your head, you could gently bring it now onto your heart. Just relax your shoulders here. Feeling both hands, the warmth of your hands on your body. When we're in this state, it's much easier for us to go with the flow, or to be able to come back from any kind of minor bumps, setbacks that we have along the way. And I think we've all had those experiences when we've not been in this state, where any little thing that goes wrong feels like so hard to work with or to overcome. When we're in this state, we're much more easy to go, okay, no, I can do this, and feel that sense of okayness and ease. As I mentioned earlier, it's much more easy to connect from this place. So I'm going to invite you here, hand on the heart, hand on the belly. If your arms are tired, you could always release your hands down. You might open your eyes just with a soft gaze or let your eyes close. And beginning to notice your breath, breathing in and out through the nose. And as you notice your inhale, your hands will begin to just naturally rise with the breath. And with the exhale, you'll feel them draw back in and down. There's no need to strain with your breath here, to try too hard or to force anything. But just gently noticing the inhale, letting it deepen, so you might be sipping it down towards the belly, letting the belly and the ribs expand. And as you exhale, slowly releasing out through the nose. So there's a slow, even breath, drawing it in and down, filling with breath, and a slow, easy breath as you release. And in a moment, we'll begin to breathe more together here. So we're going to inhale for 4, we'll exhale for 5, and then we'll exhale for 6. If the breathing at any time makes you feel anxious or uncomfortable, just let it go. Just come back to your normal breath. Otherwise, I'll invite you here to take a nice big exhale, even out through the mouth. Let all of the breath go. Feel your low belly draw in. And then gently closing the lips, inhale through the nose for 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gently releasing your hands down. Just take a moment to notice your breath. Just coming back to whatever feels like a normal rhythm for you. Noticing any effects that maybe just the breath work has had on the physiology. Noticing your muscles, any tension you might be holding or letting go of. And then when you're ready, just gently blinking the eyes open. So the sequence we do is meant to tone the vagus nerve. So we're going to work with all these places that the vagus nerve connects to, beginning with the eyes. So in your comfortable seat, I'm going to invite you to take your hands out, and you're going to bring your pinkies together, your index fingers together. And so that they're right in front of your gaze. And then I'm going to invite you to look at the line between your fingers. So as they press together, there'll be the line where they meet. And as you look at your fingertips, you'll notice maybe that your gaze has to get a little bit more focused. It'll be more intense, a little bit more of a harder gaze. It's just the way that our eyes focus, right? So it creates a bit more intensity. And then nice and slow, when you're ready, you're going to begin to slowly separate your fingertips, moving them to the side, to the right and the left, but keep your vision forward. Let your gaze just be slow and unmoving on something in front of you. Probably not your screen, if that's available. And you're going to take your fingertips out to the side where you can still see them through your peripheral vision, but you're still looking ahead. So notice when you look softly to the side, which is what happens when we're not focusing hard on that side, but that's where we're looking, that some of the tension in your face might begin to relax. This is a softer gaze, and this is the gaze that we might associate with ventral vagal. So let's play with it a couple more times. Just slowly bring your hands back together, keeping that gaze gently forward. But as your fingertips begin to come together, let your gaze change now so you're looking at your fingertips. Notice what changes. Notice what your eyes, your breath, any tension you might feel as you see those fingertips. And then nice and slow, we're going to take them apart again and let the peripheral vision take over, softening our gaze back into what would be the ventral vagal. Let's do it one more time. We're slowly going to bring our hands together, our fingertips together. Let the gaze change. So when we're doing that hard focus, this would be a little bit more associated with our sympathetic nervous, our fight flight, the intensity of focus and even trying to strategize, even with worry. And then as we slowly bring it apart, just letting again the gaze soften and let our system feel that. And then you can just release your hands down. We take a conscious cycle of breath. Notice your inhale. Maybe even sigh out the exhale. Okay. Now again, taking your index finger, you're going to bring it into your ear. So if you were to plug your ears, your index would go right into the hole. I don't want you to do that. You're going to just back the fingertip up so it's in the ridge. So just sliding it back into that kind of, there's like a, almost like a, I'm thinking about like a half pipe of skating. Yeah, like just this little kind of ridge in your ear. So you're not holding on to your earlobes. You're just going in like you're going to plug your ears and then just sliding your fingers maybe a millimeter back. And then from there, with your fingers pressing into that part, you're going to begin to circle your ears. You're just making little circles with your fingerprint on your ear. And you might feel the little bones in your ears beginning to move around a little. And that's actually what we're doing, moving some of the tension. When we're in ventral vagal, we're much more able to hear sounds of safety around us, sounds of connection. So things that help maybe to resource us, human voices, sounds in nature, as opposed to loud mechanical sounds. Good. And then let's take our index and thumb and just gently grabbing your earlobes and just pulling down a little. And then we're just going to make our way up the edges of the ears, pulling our earlobes almost away from us as we come up. So you're pulling gently. You don't want to create any tension. It might feel nice to even move, kind of wiggle the ears a little side to side or around, just releasing any tension in the ears. Okay, you might roll your shoulders back. I know that when we're lifting our arms up, you might get a little tense in the shoulders. So letting those relax. Moving into our jaw, so I'm going to invite you to make fists with your hands, and we're going to massage with our fists right into that jawline. And if you're not sure where, what I'm going to invite you to do is for a moment, just clench your teeth really hard, and then feel the muscle that tenses up with your hands. So just clench, feel those muscles. That's what you're going to be working with your fists. So making your fists and then just getting into that jaw muscle, and you're just kind of moving your fists in circles. Yeah, so it's, hard enough that you are feeling some massage there, but not so hard that it hurts. You might go one direction and then you might feel what it feels like to go the other way. Good. And then letting that go. Now, so get a little bit into the neck here. I'm going to invite you to take your right ear over to your right shoulder. Again, taking a fist here, take your thumb over your index for this fist, and then take the ridge of your thumb and just take it to the left side of your neck, just underneath the ear, so kind of between your jaw and your ear, and just gently pull it down. If you are someone who clenches your jaw, you might really notice this muscle, and you're just kind of pulling that long sheet of muscle down towards your collarbone, and you're going to do that a couple of times. 2 or 3. Good. And then let your chin come up a little bit. So you still have right ear to right shoulder, but your chin is drawing up. And again, we're going to take that muscle and you're going to pull it down. We're going to come a little bit more to the front here. Front of the neck. Wherever you're feeling it. Like there's not really a right or wrong. We just want to pull that tension down. And then finally let your chin come in towards your chest or towards your armpit. So you're still coming towards the right. And now you might even use your left hand on your right elbow just to bring your fist back a little. And you're going to run more around the back of the neck and down towards the shoulder. So right kind of behind the ear, anywhere again that you're feeling tension. And just kind of pulling that down, draining tension away. And then you can let it go. Gently lift up your head. Bring your gaze over to the left, just looking over your shoulder. Gently back through center. And then let your gaze come over to the right. And then back through center. One more time. We're going to let our right ear come to our right shoulder. But this time I'm going to invite you to take your eyes. Your eyes are going to move up towards the left and up towards the ceiling. So it's like a hard look up and left. And then take about 3 deep cycles of breath here as we work with the optical nerve and how it connects into this vagus nerve. Good. And at the end of your next exhale, release your eyes and release your head back. Of course, we're going to do the other side. So gently letting left ear come towards left shoulder, taking your fist, thumb over index, using the ridge, the flat part of your thumb, pulling down from underneath the ear, pulling down towards the collarbone. Again, 2 or 3 times, just pulling any tension down, these flat muscles of the neck, almost like we're ironing them gently out. Good. And then we're going to bring our gaze up a little, so tilting the chin up and a little bit more towards the front. And again, this is where I notice, because I do have a tendency to clench my jaw, that they can really feel a lot of tension. It can feel nice here to massage that out. And then we let the chin come in towards the armpit. You might use your right hand on your left elbow just to help you bring the fist back a little further, almost a little bit more towards the back of the side of the neck. And again, just doing that 2 or 3 times. And then you can release, gently coming up. And then gaze can come over your right shoulder. And then center, over your left shoulder, and then center. Last time, left ear, left shoulder. This time eyes come up hard right, so up and to the right. And then your invitation here is to try to find your deep breath. So even though this sometimes, especially if you tend to hold tension here, so part of working with sensations in the body is that if you have a place where you do hold stress, when you move into it, you might feel some anxiety come up, some of the patterns of the past holding. And we want to be able to breathe through it and let ourselves know that we're safe and relaxed, and it's okay to feel this. And then just gently coming back up through center. You need any little movements at any time, right? So that you're just taking care of yourself here. Let's bring our fingertips lightly to our shoulders and then just begin to circle your elbows. So we're moving down this nerve, moving into the shoulders and into the heart space. Let's go one direction and then gently going the other way. Good. Release your hands down. We'd like them to touch the ground. Let your left fingertips root, and then inhale your right arm up. As you exhale, begin to walk your left fingertips a little bit more to the left. So even if you're in a chair, it still works. Keep rooting down through the right sit bone and reach up and out like you're drawing your right ribs away from your right hip. If you like to look up a little here, you can. Remembering, though, of course, to breathe. Right, so if you're in a chair, it might look a little bit more like your hand is resting there. It might not be quite as deep because you won't have anywhere to rest maybe your fingertips. Take one more cycle of breath. And then slowly begin to come all the way up. And then we're just going to twist over towards our right side. So letting your left hand come down onto your right knee. Right fingertips are coming down for support behind you. Inhale, lengthen the crown of your head up. And then as you exhale, gently twisting your ribs towards the right. And it's up to you. Just notice what feels good in your neck. You might look just kind of the same direction that your right knee is pointing. Or you can look over your right shoulder if that feels good. Couple big breaths into the rib cage. And so we're twisting now, kind of finding that spiral staircase from the sacrum all the way up to the crown of your head. On your next exhale, just gently release, come back through center. Let your hands come back down to the ground, root into your right fingertips. This time inhale your left arm up. As you exhale, maybe right hand walks a little bit more towards the right, but keep that left sit bone down. And then we're reaching out through those left fingertips. And same thing, you can look down, you can look forward, or some of you might like to draw your left shoulder back and down, and you might even be peeking up underneath your left arm. Breathing in and out of that left side, letting any tension go. Good. And then reaching gently with that left arm, coming all the way up. Releasing your hand down, relaxing your shoulders down your back. So we've moved quite a bit side to side. So we're going to open the front of the throat. And the way I'm going to invite you to do that is to open your mouth wide. And then with your mouth still wide, you're going to begin to lift your chin, lift your gaze up. So it'll be ah. And then once you're looking up, close your bottom jaw towards your top so you feel more stretch down the front of your throat. Keep relaxing your shoulders down. And again, please remember to breathe. And then gently your gaze can come back through center. And then let your chin fall in towards your chest, but keep your spine long. So you don't want to roll forward to do this. Beautiful. And then gaze comes forward. Take your hands to your heart, and you might even gently with your hands down, just pulling the skin a little bit down and away from the throat, but then relax your shoulders. I'm going to invite in here 3 big ohms. So just remembering that, or if you don't know, that humming is one of the things that really helps with ventral vagal toning. So humming, singing, chanting, prayer, whatever works for you. As we do this, I'm going to invite you to really feel the vibration coming from your belly all the way up into your heart and into your throat and your face. We can really feel this whole nerve kind of responding to vibration. So if you don't like to say you could say home, you can just say hum, like whatever you like to do. We'll take a cleansing breath to begin with, and as I said, we'll do 3 in a row. So inhale fully, exhale out through your mouth. Inhale for Om. Just noticing and feeling. Notice any warmth, vibration, images that might arise, sensations. Imagine being able to relax your tongue down the throat, so you're relaxing even down into the esophagus, into the stomach, softening down. Let one hand relax back down and use your other hand and just gently begin to tap your heart. So tapping your breastbone, not your actual heart, your heart center, so energetic heart, but your sternum, breastbone. You can use a little fist if you like. Just waking it up. Just kind of going in a little bit of a circle. If you like to make noise here, you could certainly do a little ah, ah. And then from here, imagining you could isolate your ribs, and we can't really. And I'm going to invite you just to circle your upper ribs, right? So if they were going forward, side to side, and back. And I'm trying to keep my seat quite heavy, and I'm focusing just on my heart center. Notice what direction you're tending to go. I notice I move, so I'm kind of going towards my right. Or clockwise, I guess, would be the... But if you're going counterclockwise, just notice, because I'm going to ask you to do the other. Do the other side. So just find one more. Okay, and then we're going to slow it down. Take one hand to your belly, low belly, and one hand to your low back. And I'm going to invite you just to create circles here. So you're just circling both. And see if you can imagine or feel the space between your hands. Right, so you can even pause once you've kind of circled a few times. So just see if you could feel warmth kind of generating out through your hands and moving towards each other. Or you might imagine light. Yeah, so kind of making contact with our digestion. Yeah, and then let your hands relax again. And now you're going to move the other way, but imagine you could move your bottom ribs. Right. And of course they're connected, right? They're bone. So, but it just brings our awareness then a little lower down, right? So if you think bottom ribs, you might be thinking more kind of lower back, lower belly. And just kind of moving the other way. Good. So from here, we're going to come on to hands and knees. So if you've been in a chair, you're going to make your way down to your yoga mat now. If you've been seated, you're releasing your legs out. It might feel nice to give them a little bit of a shake. So we're going to move this whole line now that we just woke up. So coming into your tabletop, bringing your knees underneath your hips and your wrists underneath your shoulders and spreading your fingertips so that each fingerprint can press into your mat. Toes can be untucked or tucked, whatever feels the most supportive for you. Take a moment to feel your neutral spine. So draw your low belly muscles in a little bit and feel the line from the crown of your head to your tailbone. And then from neutral, we're going to come into an inhale. Let our belly drop down. Let your gaze come forward. Let your shoulder blades draw towards each other. And you might even lift your chin if that feels okay. And then as you exhale, push the ground away. Begin to round your back like an angry cat. Tuck your tailbone under. Push the ground away and draw your chin in towards your chest. As you inhale, tailbone tips up. Belly softens down, heart opens, throat opens. As you exhale, pushing away from the earth, drawing low belly in, really rounding and spreading the muscles between the shoulder blades. Taking a couple more cycles of breath like that. Continuing to really join it up with your breath. Good. Okay, I'm going to invite you to do a downward dog. If downward dog's not in your practice, you can continue with cat-cow. Otherwise, wrists slightly in front of the shoulders, pinkies close to the edges of the mat, wrist creases lining up with the top edge. Tuck your toes under. Inhale fully. As you exhale, push your hands forward and down as you begin to lift your hips up and back. Good. Pressing down, especially through your thumb and your index, will help to begin to turn the eyes of your elbows forward. Keep drawing your shoulders down your back. Bend your knees as much as you need to so that your hips can lift up. So think about extending your spine instead of getting your legs straight. If you have a nice straight spine and then you wish to lower your heels down towards the ground, you can certainly do so. And they may or may not touch. From here, begin to walk your feet up towards your hands. So come into a forward fold at the front of your mat. Now, you can bend your knees as much as you need to. You might draw the low belly muscles in just gently so that you have a little bit more space. Let the crown of your head soften down towards the ground. Let your head really be an anchor here, lengthening your spine. Let's take one more cycle of breath here. And then nice and slow, we're going to ragdoll it up. So with a bent knee, push your feet into the ground. Just make your way up one vertebra at a time. Head will come up very fast. Once you're all the way up, just take a moment to notice and feel. Let your feet be about hip width apart. Gentleness to the knees. Heaviness to the pelvis. So we're not tucking the tailbone under, but it's like the tip of the tailbone has a little weight. So the pelvis is neutral. Relaxing your shoulders. Yeah, chin parallel with the floor, so your neutral neck. Good. And then turning to the wide edge of your mat, like I am already, and then walk your feet out, and then we'll turn our toes out slightly here. So we're going to come into sunflower. There's a little bit of movement here. So as we inhale, we're going to open our arms up like we were doing a 5-pointed star. And as you exhale, gently bend your knees. And for a moment, you can even bring your hands down onto your knees if you like. Turn your toes the same direction as your knees just to support yourself here. When you're ready, you're using the strength of your legs. Press through the feet. Inhale, rise up and open here. 5-pointed star. As you exhale, bend your knees. Arms can sweep in front. Inhale, rise up. Exhale to bend like we're sitting down. Inhale to rise. You want to add a hinge at the hips here. When you bend your knees, you can hinge at your hips. So it's almost like you're going to graze the floor. But make sure you don't round your back, right? So you're nice straight back if you're doing this. And then we're pressing through the feet, rising all the way up. Inhale. And then as you exhale, bending your knees, coming down. Inhale, rising up. Exhale to lower. Inhale, up. Last time, exhale, lower. Inhale, rising up. From here, we'll keep our toes turning out, heels in. Bend your knees again. Bring your hands down onto your thighs so your thumbs are pointing in and your fingertips are pointing out. Straight elbows here. Sit down like you had a chair underneath you. So you'll see my shoulders start to come up to my ears here. But we get a bit more of a stretch into the groin as we sit down. Gently pressing into your right inner thigh. Bring your right shoulder forward. And gaze over your left shoulder. So you're not holding your breath. Come back to center. Opposite side. As the left shoulder comes forward, look over your right shoulder. Come back to center. Gently press through your feet. Rise all the way up. Roll your shoulders back and down. Walk your feet out maybe a little bit wider. Turn your toes for a moment forward. And then let's turn our right toes to the front of our mat so you have heel to arch alignment. It's coming into a warrior two. Rooting down through the back edge of your foot. Keep the crown of your head over your tailbone. When you're ready, begin to bend into your front knee so your knee is over your ankle. Keep rooting down, especially into the pinky side of your left foot. And then option here to open up your wings and look over your middle finger. Feel your right knee gently drawing towards your second toe, feeling that right hip drawing back. Softness in the jaw. Feeling the power of the big muscles, the thighs and the legs here. As we work our way up ventral vagal to that kind of place of maybe easefulness internally, letting go of any judgment, being able to go with the flow, and enough energy in our system that we can do so. And then begin to straighten your front knee. You can release your hands down. Right toes point forward, well, towards the wide edge of your mat, and then turn your left toes to become your front foot so they're turning towards the small edge of your mat. Once you root into the outer edge of your back foot, we're going to bend into that front knee. Make sure your left knee doesn't pass your ankle. Yeah. And then pressing down through both feet. Crown stays over the pelvis, opening up your wings, looking over your middle finger, left middle finger, if you wish. And then finding your breath here. Good. Take one more cycle of breath. And then gently you can press through the front foot, rising up, straightening the leg, hands to your hips. Turn your left toes towards the wide edge, heel toe your feet in, come all the way up to standing. Okay, final thing we're going to do here is a little bit of breath of joy. So this is, again, to bring out these feelings of connection and well-being, does bring more energy to our system often. So what it's going to look like is we're going to bring in 3 short breaths through the nose and a big exhale out through the mouth, almost like a ha. So it's going to look like this. It would be an inhale and an exhale, bending our knees and going ha. As you bend, make sure you're looking forward. You know, you're not going to collapse, look down. If you do that, you might actually fall over, right? So it's like kind of almost like a ski jumper. It's what we're going for. And then we're going to rise up. It'll be ha. Okay? So we'll do that about 5 times. Ha. 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 Last time. Ha. Come all the way up. Let it go. Take a moment again just to notice your heart rate, your breath. Notice what you might be feeling. Letting the breath slow down, feeling the feet grounding, crown of the head moving towards the sky. Good. And then we're going to come into a heart opener. If you wish, you could also do Shavasana here instead. I will invite you, I'm going to finish with this pose, but I would invite you, if you're doing this pose, actually maybe I might give us a moment on our back, because it's really important if you do a heart opener that you also give your back an opportunity to be neutral. So taking a bolster behind you, yeah, so we're going to lay back on it. If you don't have a bolster, you might instead roll a blanket so that it was in a long tube that you could lay down kind of from just your sacrum all the way up to the crown of your head. If you want to open into butterfly, you can have yoga blocks close by either side of your mat to support your knees. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can use your cushions. I also have a sandbag, so I'm going to use that on the belly. And if you have an eye pillow, that could be really sweet. If you are cooling down at all, it might be nice to put on a sweater like I have, or socks, woolly socks, blanket over you could also be quite lovely. So when you are ready, gently laying down. So the hips are heavy on the ground. The back is coming down onto your bolster. And then you can walk the soles of the feet together if you're coming into butterfly. You'll use your blocks underneath your knees or your outer thighs. If you don't want to do butterfly, you can have your legs out long here. You could also have the soles of the feet on the ground with your knees even lightly touching. So notice what helps you to rest here. If you do have the pillow or something a little heavier, you might place that onto your low belly. And if you have an eye pillow, you could put that over your eyes. That little bit of weight on the body, on the eyes, can help the body to relax and to ground. So noticing for you what it's like. We're all a little bit different. So if it's not a resource for you, just take them off. And let your body really take in the props underneath you, the ground underneath you. Because the ground and the props are there, you don't have to hold yourself upright. There's no effort needed here. The elbows become heavier. Relax any holding in your legs. When we stop holding our muscles in, when we stop gripping, it really sends the message to the nervous system that we can relax. And then sometimes you might notice a deeper breath, or your stomach might bubble or gurgle. You might yawn. All of these are signs that our system is moving into the parasympathetic response. Ventral vagal, or rest and digest. And gravity is really an assist here. We don't have to do anything. Just breath by breath, layer by layer, the body will relax down towards the earth. And the best we can, just letting it happen. Letting the front of the heart open here as gravity assists, drawing the elbows down. And this gentle opening through the front of the heart space. You might take a moment to come back to those places that we were exploring. So imagine you could just soften your eyes. Let go of the need to see or to take in any more information. Just letting ourselves have this visual break. Softness around the outer eye. The eyebrow settle. Letting go of the many expressions that we hold throughout our day and just coming into a soft neutral. Relaxing down your ears. Letting sound just come and go. We soften the ears, relaxing down the sides of the neck. And softening the jaw. Create a bit of space between the back teeth, the molars. tongue be heavy. And softening down the throat. Again, back to that heart space, just gently opening, breath moving up and down. Softening to the solar plexus, all the way down to the belly. Notice if it's easier to stay here now that you've practiced, that you've moved a little. And if it's just as challenging, letting go of any judgment, just curiosity. We're slowly going to come out. You might reach down with your hands to your outer thighs if you're in butterfly and just gently begin to draw your knees together and let the soles of the feet come back onto the ground. If you have an eye pillow on with one hand, you can move the eye pillow away, you can move the sandbag away. When you're ready, we're gently going to roll to one side, so you can either roll off of your props and onto your floor or your mat, or you could just rest on your props. From here, you might press in one hand and making your way into your final shape, your Shavasana. So as you come up, just move your bolster so it's down, or your rolled blanket underneath your knees. Again, you might want to have, you could have your eye pillow again and even your sandbag if you wanted. And you're just gently going to make your way down onto your back, covering yourself up with a blanket if you're cold. Putting the weight of the sandbag or the eye pillow back on if you'd like. Let your whole body relax here. You might feel your body as it kind of comes out of that heart opener. You might feel the space that's been created in the spine. I'd invite you to stay here anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes. Getting the benefit of that toning of that vagus nerve and allowing yourself to rest. I thank you for practicing. Namaste.